Hello there, thank you for tuning in to watch this making of video. Making of my latest short film, Hellblazer, A Fistful of Shekels. The reason I'm doing this, so normally I wouldn't do this. I mean, you wouldn't normally see a making of for a short film, but the reason I'm doing this is because the making of this film was full of some crazy, unexpected shit. And have been certain problems that have arisen, some because of mistakes that I've made, and others that were just the result of like circumstantial things that I had no control over. But in both cases, it was a matter of how do we rectify the situation? You know what I mean? It's like there's never any point in like moping around. Oh my God, it's not working. Oh, it's like, okay, it is what it is. Here's the issue. How do you fix it? So hopefully, some of the things that I came up against and some of the workarounds may help people out there. May not, but if it does, all good. So here we go. So the character, John Constantine, I first found out about him maybe in 2004 or 5. A film came out starring Keanu Reeves, Djimon Hounsou, Tilda Swinton, and Rachel Weisz. And I love the film. It was this like dark, supernatural, gothic type of thing. And if anyone knows me, that's my kind of film. So that led me to research and find out more about the character, which took me on to the Hellblazer graphic novels and learning more about the whole world of Constantine. So many years later, I wrote the script, Fistful of Shekels, and this is the first point that I would like to make about making a short film. When you're doing a lot of the work, make sure that you really, really love the character that you're writing about. Because filmmaking is tough, and you know, when it gets tough, there's nothing more. I don't know where I would find the motivation to finish the film if I wasn't invested in the character as much, you know. Because I love the character, then it's like it kind of pushes you on, doesn't it? You know, you wanna see what he looks like on screen yourself. So there's the extra bit of motivation. But so yeah, so number one, I would say just really love the characters that you're doing, you know, and make sure that the script does them justice. So when I wrote the script, I sent it off to a few friends of mine that were all Hellblazer fans, just to see what their kind of vibe was. And these are also people that will tell me if it was shit or not. They're very important to have around for reasons that I'll come to later on. But yeah, I forwarded these guys, and you know, they felt that it had what I thought it had when I wrote it, which was a genuine, authentic Constantine vibe to it. It just felt like it could be one of the actual graphic novels, which is what I wanted. So step one, definitely step one, make sure you love the characters. And this isn't even about just fan films. This is the first fan film I've made. My other films have always been completely original characters, but the same applies. You have to love the characters that you're writing about, and yeah, that matters. Like I say, when times get tough, that's what will carry you through. You know, in many ways, it's like a relationship. You know, it's like if the person that you're with, or if the person that you're with is like an idiot, a bit of an arsehole, or if you're an arsehole, it's gonna be there's not much motivation to even try to remedy anything that goes wrong. But if you care and love about that, you know, love that person or love that project, then when things go wrong, you're gonna try, whatever it takes to get it fixed. Even if it doesn't work, you still wanna try, whatever it takes. So rule number one, when it comes to script writing, love your script. 1B, make sure you send it to people that you trust, whose opinion you value, to tell you what their honest thoughts are. Okay, so once you're happy with the rewrites, you've had all your notes back, you're happy with the script, and you want to go forward and get it made. This is when I look at casting. By the way, a lot of the things that I'm gonna say, you're doing simultaneously. You're like juggling all the time. But this is cool part. I do enjoy the pre-production part. So first up, Oliver Mayo, great actor. Met him many years ago. We were extras, and I think we were working on Edge of Tomorrow, or maybe it was Fury. It was one of those films back in the day, and we got on really well. He's a great guy. He's a great actor, but he's also just a really nice person as well. So he loves the character. It's even more important, he loves the character. So he was a perfect fit for the role. Then there was Alina Tamara. I met Alina maybe 7 years ago now, maybe. I met her at the Cannes Film Festival. She's really cool for an actress as well. Really bit of a powerhouse actress. Craig Edgley. So I met Craig through another friend of mine called Jack, who's another actor as well. This is, again, the great thing about networks. Jack said to me, you got a guy that he's an amazing actor, and I saw him, and yeah, he's great. Craig is a bit of a beast. He's in Rado at the moment. He's so good. As you'll see if you've seen the film, he's an amazing actor. Then we got Laura Lake and Tamara Hessen. I met these two when we were working on a computer game. We were doing mocap for a computer game, and I was like, yep, these two I want to work with them again, 100%. Then there is Juice Salim. He's I worked for Juice quite a lot actually. I think he's probably been in most of my films. Great guy, amazing artist, great musician, film lover. Then there's Richard Anderson. Richie he does the SFX he did for my last film, a film called Shave, which I'll put a link somewhere here or in the description. And he's also an amazing artist. Like, he did the poster for Fistful of Shekels, and he did it in the design of a Hellblazer graphic novel. He's a genius. I don't use that word lightly. He's something else when it comes to art. My friend Niz, who I worked with on The Door for many years. We've been in some insane situations together, but he's a great guy and he loves film, and he's got a passion for acting as well, which is massively important. And then Michael Eunice. And Michael, I'd never met in person until this film. We've been talking over lockdown for years, and he's a great actor, Shakespearean actor. We both, I did a monologue for, what was it, Titus Andronicus, a character called Aaron the Moor. And Michael played Aaron the Moor on stage, so it was like kindred spirits. He's a really good guy. He's a cage fighter. I used to cage fight, so it was like, he's a good dude. And the reason I'm talking so much about all these people is they all share a few things in common. One, they're all talented. Two, they're all driven. But three, and probably most importantly, none of them are arseholes. And I think that's one of the most important things to have on throughout the whole process, whether behind the camera or in front of the camera. Don't have any arseholes anywhere near you. It's the fastest way to fuck up your production. It's the fastest way to destroy your production. I think the fastest way to make your production a nightmare is to have egos on set, or have anybody on there that has a toxic kind of vibration. That only serves to bring things down, and it brings everyone else down. And because it's your project, it's down to you to safeguard the energy in the room. Filmmaking can be hard. So why make it harder than it needs to be? Or it can be fucking amazing. And there's more chance of it being amazing if you have amazing people around you. So no matter how much somebody wants to be in your project, if you, in your heart of hearts, know that they're going to cause you an issue on the day, do not have them on set. Don't do it. Do it if you want, but just know that I told you so, all right? No arseholes. Very important, very important. Okay, so after that, you got the casting ready. Now, behind the scenes, who are going to have behind the scenes? DOP, obviously massively important. I'm very lucky, I've got a great friend, Gary Anthony Rogers. I call him the maestro. He's a bit of a beast behind the camera. He has, I think he's forgotten more than a lot of people know when it comes to operating a camera, little tips and tricks here and there, He's great and has got a great energy about it as well, and loves film, loves to shoot. Very technically gifted, but also able to think outside of the box, which is massively important when you're doing low budget or no budget filming. If anyone has seen the 10-minute film school from Robert Rodriguez, if not, I'll put a link down here somewhere. Check it out, because that thing goes into that kind of, this is the thing. It's like, in the ideal world, you'll have all the money in the world, blah blah blah. But it's like, it's nice to sometimes just have innovation to get through certain issues, or to get you through certain scenes, and there's always a better sense of achievement after you've done it a certain way. So Gary is great. So we also had Sophie Simpson. I met her a few years back when Gary shot a feature film called Fixed, that was shot in Birmingham, and Sophie was first AC, I believe, on that. Sophie's working for Ari now, actually, as well. She's smashing it, she's absolutely killing it. And I worked with her last on her film, her uni film, end of uni film called EWE. I'll put a link down here in the description box. And she's great energy, loads of knowledge, and great to have around as well. So she was there. And then SFX, Richard Anderson, who was one of the characters in the film as well. And Richard's great. Like I say, when it comes to SFX, he's a massive horror fan. So he's got loads of insight into how things are made, how to do certain things. But like I said, he's a bit of a genius. So it's like, he's got loads of really cool and cool ideas and ways of doing stuff. So apart from that, everyone else usually helps out. Everyone helps out. It's like, it's a very skeleton crew. But the kind of people I have around don't mind helping out where needs be, which is amazing. So. This is like, again, the cast and crew, they're your teammates, you know what I mean? They're your teammates. It's like, this is it, And it's choosing the right people goes a long way. Yeah. So next up, location, or locations. Locations. Yeah, I mean, when you write your script, you'll have, in your mind, you'll have an idea of what you want. It might be a certain feel or certain colors. It's good to be flexible with this kind of thing, depending on your budget. If you have all the money in the world, then hey, you can have what you want. But if you haven't, like I haven't, be flexible. I had a few places in mind. Managed to get a place called the Floodgate. Massive thank you to them. They're based in Digbeth. Go and check them out if you're local. They're really cool, and they've got a great location there. So met with the guy Mike. Actually, Niz. So this is again the importance of great people around you. Niz, who plays a character in the film, he knew Mike. He worked with him a few times and managed to get the location for us. So, and the location was great. Like I say, it was versatile, had different textures in the room, and just felt right for what I wanted to have. And funnily enough, initially I had a few different places in mind, but some of them fell through. Other places just wouldn't have worked on the dates that I wanted them for. But luckily we were blessed with this great location, and the whole film, apart from the cinema scene, which was shot at the Mockingbird Cinema in Digbeth, the whole thing was shot at this one location. And you can see through the film there's such a variation in the locations, even though it's all in one building. So if you can, when you're choosing a location, find somewhere that has a lot of either little small nooks and crannies, corridors, anything interesting that you might be able to use for the film. That can help you greatly as well. Even if it's like on the day, you might get a bit of inspiration. So location is important. Now the location, like I say, is in Digbeth, and I went and saw it. It was great. But there are some issues with it on the day. Well, not with the location, but with the surroundings that I'll go into later on. But locations, costume and props, mega important. Finding out people's sizes. In this case with our film, Constantine, his jacket is iconic. If you know about Hellblazer and this guy, you'll know about his jacket. It's like, it's as much of a character as he is. So it was important to find the right coat and the right color. It couldn't be it has to be the right color, the right kind of material. Same as a tie, all that kind of stuff, and these kind of things can can cause problems trying to hunt down certain things, but look on eBay, look in charity shops, look everywhere. Gumtree, Facebook Marketplace, you can find a lot of bargains on there. And then Amazon, as always, Amazon, you find a lot of stuff on there as well. Props if you're having, for instance, firearms on set, get a good armourer around, and then, you know, also look at things like fire sprinklers and that kind of thing, you know, in the location that you're filming in. Will smoke set off your the fire alarms? Will it set off, you know, these kind of things? All good to check before you get there, because it can cause you a right pain in the ass if you haven't checked it out, and then it can just delay things which you don't want. So yeah, carefully planning the costumes and finding the right look and the right feel for the piece. It's very important. So you got your script, casting crew sorted, locations are sorted as well. So like I said before, you're going to be juggling a lot of things throughout this, so there's no set order for the start really. You know, you can do whatever works for you, but what I like to do throughout the whole process is just planning my shot lists, basically. Storyboarding, I'm a real bad drawer. I'm not a good artist, but I can draw enough, I can draw well enough to be able to show Gary what I would like. But what I also do is I also always create a little mood board, a video mood board, and then I'll also get my phone, I'll go to location, and I'll shoot certain shots that I would like to put in film as well, you know, and that really helps. Because again, when you're doing low budget filmmaking, one of the biggest things against you is time. So the things that save you time is good planning. This was taught to me by Wahid Iqbal, a good friend of mine, and an amazing filmmaker. His film Jungle Land is sick, and yeah, he's amazing. But yes, planning. So get your shot list done, you know, and when I'm doing my shot list, I'm literally just playing it over in my head. You know, I'm like reading it and trying to imagine what each part would look like, down to the cuts. I know that like there's that thing where people like to get a lot of coverage, and that is important to a degree, but it's knowing what coverage that you want. You know, it's like, okay, I can have it over the shoulder, I can have this and that, but it's like, you know, if you're on the day trying to think this on the day, and then yeah, well, maybe I can get this angle, you might not even use a lot of those angles. So why do them in the first place? You know, you may use them, but if you do the planning in pre-production, then you won't waste any time. Again, if you have a massive budget, you have all the time to try every angle in the world, then great. But if you haven't, you have to know what you want and stick with what you want as well, because that's the only way you're going to get it over the finish line. So, shot listing, storyboarding, from start to finish, and then once you've done it, go over it, read it through, see how it feels, imagine how it will look. Again, go out with your phone, get a few different shots. I'll use my son's toys. If there's a car, I'll use cars, toy cars. You know, use whatever you've got around you to help you visualize and then to get it down on paper. And it's also helped the DOP. It helps make his job a lot easier because you know what you want. You're not faffing around. Gary's amazing. He's amazing at lighting as well. So if I show him a certain image, he'll be like, oh, okay, I know I need to light like this way, blah blah blah. And it's just easier all around. So yeah, storyboarding, shot listing, get it done. So all that's done. Next up is finding a date to shoot. It can be quite hard sometimes trying to get everybody in the right place at the right time. You know, if I'm working, if they're working, then yeah, it's like, you know, that it always has to. The thing for me is that everyone's personal life has to come first. Because I know for me, if I had a shoot or, you know, a job planned and my son needed me, I'm not going to be at the shoot. I'm going to be where my son is. So you have to have the same kind of thought for everyone else that you would like for yourself. So yeah, once you've got a date that works for everybody else, then get it planned in, get it booked in. Make sure you can sort out people's travel. Look out for things like, there are little things that you may not think about, like parking charges, congestion charges, all that sort of stuff you should cover, because they're coming to help you out in the day. So yeah, get that covered. And yeah, plan for the big day. Okay, so the day before shooting, what I like to do is I go to the location first of all, check everything's okay, check the power outlets. Always check the power outlets, just in case I've been there before, where you've gone plug an extension lead in and you're like, shit, it's not working. So no lights, so you can't charge batteries, etc. So always check they're working. Speak to the management of the place, make sure they're cool and happy with what time you're going to be starting, finishing, etc. And yeah, you're good to go. Then what I also do the night before, food is one of the most important things, I think, in low budget filmmaking. If people are helping you out, it's so fucking important to have tea, coffee, water, soft drinks, fruit. I'm always up. Anyone who knows me knows the day before a shoot, I'm always up till whenever. I'm making sandwiches all day, buying those salad boxes, you know, from Tesco's, whatever, really made salad boxes, loads of snacks, fruits. Like I say, just get more food than you need, because first of all, like I say, your actors and your crew need to be energized and well fed, you know, and just to ensure a smooth running. But also, maybe traveling far, you know. A lot of people come from London, it's a 2-hour drive, you know. I don't want them to get there and not have anything ready for them, you know. So massive part of it is just thinking about, you know, their needs. Always message out, see if anyone has any dietary requirements, any nut allergies. I think Sophie, I'm sure Sophie's got a nut allergy, I think. So obviously no nuts on, you know, in the vicinity. So I think, yeah, so always just double check allergies, any specific dietary requirements, that kind of thing is mega important. So yeah, coffee, water, tea, milk, small things that you might forget, disposable cups, all that sort of stuff. Just plan for the world's biggest picnic, you know, have all that. So yeah, take your time with that. Try and go to town as much as you can with that, because it's important that they feel, that your cast and crew feel taken care of, you know. It's hospitality, but it goes a long way. It goes a really long way, especially on low budget things. You know, it's yeah, it'd be wrong to have them come and not have anything, no provisions for them, you know. So yeah, food. Okay, so the big day is here. It's time to shoot. This will be an exciting day for many reasons. It will be exciting because the cast that you've picked are into the source, they're into the material, and they're buzzing to get stuff going. The crew are also buzzing to do their thing as well. So if you choose correctly, if you choose well, they will be there. They'll have that energy there for you already, you know. But if you're directing, or producing, if it's your production, it's down to you to bring that energy, you know. Cannot be like walk onto set down, hi guys, you know. It's like, now you need to be fired up and bring the energy, because you are the person that is gonna, like, you know, really carry that day through. So hopefully things will go well. Sometimes they won't go well, and my first day on this, it was amazing in some senses, but it was also fucking crazy. So anybody that lives or works in Birmingham will know that they're digging up High Street. They're making a tram line, putting tram lines in, and they weren't supposed to be. I'm sure they weren't supposed to be going on because it's a weekend. They'll work in a weekday, but this particular day they were working. So we were filming. All you could hear in the background was the pneumatic drills going off, all the roadworks. We closed all the windows, but still, we'll dig up the road. It was insane, right? And this is one of those times in filmmaking, not even in filmmaking, it's in life in general, when shit hits the fan, what do? There's no point in stopping. The only thought you need to have is, okay, this has gone to shit, or this is shit. What can I do to fix it? That's all you need to think about. What can I do to fix it? There's no point in thinking about, oh my God, what did I do on this day one on Tuesday? Who cares about what if or why didn't you? You know, that is out of your control now. Here is the situation. You've got people from around the country. So I have people from Hereford, London, Coventry, Birmingham, all over here to help me out on this film. So I'll be damned if I was going to be like, guys, we're going to cancel, we're going to come and do it another day. Because again, people taking time out of their day, they could have been anywhere, but they chose to be with me. So what do? You just keep moving on and keep moving forward. Like I say, you know, we did what we could do, close the windows, dampen them as much as we could, and just shut the thing. Again, worst case, you can ADR stuff. If you have money, then yeah, sure, go ahead, cancel your day. You know, you can reschedule, make sure everyone's sorted out for their inconvenience and stuff. But sometimes you just gotta go and you gotta get it done there and then. And this was one of those times there. It was also really busy work-wise. So everyone was busy. It's a lot of film work going on. So you never knew when someone was going to be available or not going to be available. So it's like, now we've got to go now. So we just did it. And there were times when it was quiet and we got some great sound, and times when it was just noisy, but we still managed to get sound. And I'll come back to this point a bit later on. So yeah, and there was also another issue. We only had 2 issues on the day. We only had 2 issues. One was that, and then another issue was somebody needed to leave early, had a bit of a crisis at home, so I had to really rush through the end bit, which led me to I missed out a shot that I needed. My fault. I was just, again, when it comes to people's home life, I'm a massive people's home life, and it's like, I love film, and I love making film, but you know, there are so many things that come above it, and I know some people say you have to live and breathe it, and to a degree you do, but it's like none of it comes above people's life. You know, so if they've got shit to do, if there's an emergency, then yeah, you've got to do what you got to do. So, okay, cool. We got the shots done. Everyone got off on time. Good, all good, all good. So that day is done. Now we move on to the next step. Okay, so shoot day is over. You've got all your footage and you're at home with all your stuff in front of you. The first 2 things to do: back up all of your data. So you have 2 or 3 copies of this, you know, on different hard drives, different places. Very important, for reasons that will again reveal themselves later. Once you've done that, organize your files, get all your files organized, and sort out the sound files alongside the video clips. It will save so much time. It's one of the jobs I hate the most, is organizing the sound. I find it boring, tedious, but it's so important. You know, you might spend on a feature, I don't know how. My friend Wahid, on his latest feature, I'm sure he spent like about a week sorting out his or a good few days definitely sorting out all his sound files, the clips. You know, it's a very big, laborious job, but again, it saves time down the other end of it. So that's all sorted out. So I knew the sound in parts wouldn't be great, and the sound in the finished project is by no means great either. It's passable, and I'm still working on it. And at some point, I will get some things ADR, but it's getting to a point where, yeah, it's at a point where it's happy with it. But at the start of it, I listened to some of the sound; it was bad. So I found a guy online, and yeah, he told me his fee. Sent in the clips. He said, "Yeah, I can fix this for you." Sent it away. So cool. He's working on that. So in the meantime, I started to put together the film, and I was happy with the film. It had what I wanted. But remember, I said that I kind of rushed the end of the shoot, and in doing so, I forgot to shoot one scene. Now I didn't need, sorry, it wasn't a scene. It was a bit of coverage, extra coverage. Now that coverage, I could have easily had put the film out without it, but it didn't feel right without it. And this is one of those things where it's like you have to you have to weigh it up. Is it me just being a dickhead about it, or does it really need it? And I feel that this end scene really needed these shots. It would have felt amateurish if not, and it would have felt like watching a play, just one shot, no deviation. You know what I mean? Rather than the end scene, how it came out eventually. So I knew we needed those shots, but everyone was busy after that, which is good. You know, there's a lot of film work going around, which is great. I was working a lot down in London at Lewiston Studio and Shepperton. You know, Lena, she got a lead role in the film. Ollie was working. Everyone was just smashing it. Last year was the best year for film. So everyone was busy. So it was a case of trying to get the right sort of like time to get everyone together to get this film done. And again, I mean, that period took maybe like the best part of a year. I had the assembled cut already and done, and the sound was away with the guy getting sorted out. Had a guy looking at VFX, and yeah, so there was a long gap between that first shoot date and the second shoot date. But I'm happy that there was a long gap in there, and it's weird how some things work out for the best, you know, and why you have to always just trust the process, because within that time I'd met Laura and Tamara, and I was like, okay, so Ollie and Alina are coming back. Rather than them coming back just to shoot the one shot, one bit of coverage, let's add some more to the film. You know, so I wrote an extra scene, and it was something that actually added to the film. It wasn't just some like bullshit exposition. This stuff actually made the film better. And the scene with it's Tamara, Laura, Juice, and Michael. That scene wasn't in the original, but it really adds to the end of the scene. It helps tie things up a little more cleanly, I think. So again, same process with those guys. Reach out, send them the script, see what they think. Blah 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 blah. Get that sorted out. So yeah, so got that stuff done. And that was great. The sound was great on that day. there was no roadworks going on, so it was cool. But here's where a lot of the issues started in post-production. So first of all, again, the sound that got back to me with what he'd done, it wasn't great. And I went through maybe 3 or 4 different people to help sort out the sound, and spent too much for not a lot in return. Sound is as important as the picture, isn't it? You know, it's the one thing that can really mess up your film. As I said, the sound isn't perfect in my film. We're still tweaking it, and I will get a different cut out eventually with over the next few weeks with like more perfect sound based on there. But what I did to fix the sound in the end, so again, I went round the houses with the sound, and in the end, what I used was a free tool I found online. It was an AI tool. Now, AI is an interesting subject, especially for creatives, because if I know now you're saying that AI can, you can write scripts for you, you can, do all this sort of stuff, but it's like, in that sort of sense, I'm not a fan of it, because I think as humans, I think it's so important to create, isn't it? Look back to like cavemen, when they were painting on walls, or throughout history, people sitting around campfires talking about, mythical creatures that they've slayed or whatever it is. That is so important, I think, just to be able to create, so to give away that skill is not really a good thing. But I digress. I used an AI tool to sort of sound out. What that did is it basically isolated all of the background noise, just stripped it completely out. Now, bear in mind, I had a lot of people try and sort this out, sound out, and it was not happening. This AI tool did it in like a minute. It's crazy. Stripped. If I played you a copy of the sound, how it was compared to how it got to after the AI tool, it's like night and day. Amazing, absolutely amazing. So working as one in a symbiotic relationship with AI is the way forward. Saved my ass really. There was that. Another issue was the VFX. So Gary did the eyes. This effect here, I'll show you now, Valina. That effect there was done by Gary. And it was so, when I saw it, I was like, man, it's amazing. The way the eyes fade in slowly and, you know, alongside Lina's performance, spot on. But I wanted some more effects done for the scene with Michael, Juice, Tamara, and Laura. Specifically on Laura and Tamara, when they come to the outside of the building, I wanted them to look up at the security camera, and then I wanted their eyes to change slightly, and then that to signify that they've released some power, which has taken out the security system, hence they're able to enter the building. Now I I sent it up to a guy who the guy had an amazing showreel of his work. He was sick, right? And he could do all these different effects with eyes. I was like, this guy is just the guy I want. And I forwarded the files to him, and he sent me this.
Jesus Christ.
So as you can see, there's no way in how I could use that effect, right? There's just no way in how. So I played around with trying to track the eyes myself, but I'm not great at tracking stuff. So I just thought, okay, what can I do? And this is one of those things where it comes to things that you should be able to change, you know, things that, like, think outside the box. You know, there's I want something to be a certain way, but if I can't have it, what's the alternative? So we know sound's important. Okay, I can find the right sound effect. Okay, I laid a bit of wind in there, put a bit of magical tones in there, and then I just put a simple flashing effect on it. Simple flashing effect. And I put like a little bit. I put a few layers of VFX onto the camera. I found on YouTube, again, YouTube is great. Put the little electricity, a little bit of smoke, a few bit of sparks coming from the camera, and that's it. It's not what I wanted originally, but it still works. I found someone to do the sigil on the door after Tamara paints it with her finger. That was done by somebody else, because again, I'm crap when it comes to tracking. The other VFX that I did in the film was when Alina goes to goes to speak to that entity in order to get the coins, the 30 pieces of silver. That character that she speaks to, again, YouTube, man. I found a I think it was actually a disused effect from, was it a Star Wars film maybe? I don't know what it is. I'll find it and I'll put a link to it here. I'll show you where it's from. So I found that, great, but I needed it to be in the same location. So, and this is why it's important also, I'm kind of going ahead of myself here, but when you're shooting each scene, always try and get some B-roll footage of every single location you're in, and also every single shot that you shoot, even if it's like 10 seconds, right? So what I do with this shot with Alina and this bit here is I had a few seconds of dead air before Alina came into the shot. So I cut that same footage, flipped it around, and then used that as the opposite end of the corridor, which is where the creature appears from. Put that in, layer some effects over it, do some colouring on it, put the embers flying around. It works really well. I was happy with that. YouTube is your friend when it comes to low budget filmmaking. There are so many green screen videos there that are free to use. You know, you just take them off there, plop them in. I use Final Cut, so you put them in, key it out, and you can lay your effects over there, and it works really well. So that was fun. So once that was done, there was also the part where Ollie, when he casts this spell, you know, when he goes to do the incantation to give Elijah his last rites, but you know he's trying to send his location out to Echolas instead. That there, in my head originally, I wanted it to be not very different, but there were certain things I wanted to be different on it. So the guy, first of all, I found the guy on Fiverr. Fiverr's a great resource as well, by the way. and he did the tracking of the symbol that appears on John's head and the eyes. And I wanted a few other bits and pieces done in there, but again, I couldn't get what I wanted. So in the end, again, there's a scene in Blade, and this is one of the. There were two films that have kind of like reshaped my filmmaking ideas: Blade and Drive. So there's a scene in Blade during the opening bloodbath. It's before you even see Blade. The vampire, Tracy Lords, I think it was, she takes the young guy in. He thinks he's gonna party, and he realizes that this club is got to shit, right? And then blood comes from the sprinklers, and the customers are all vampires. He's trying to get away from these vampires, trying to get out there, and he gets punched in the face. And as he gets punched, there's a real quick flash of bright light. It's genius, because you have a visceral reaction to that. Boom! You can kind of feel it. So in my scene where I get knocked off my feet, I did the same thing. John had the incantation, and before it fell, quick flash of light, boom, which is just literally I literally typed in square white sheet on YouTube and just got a picture and then put it over the top. And it's only for like one frame. It flashes, boom. That with a sound is enough for the audience to feel that boom, that kind of like feel. So there's the flash, which activates the visual sense, and then there's a real deep bass, which obviously activates the ears, and then I put a little high pitch beep, like you've been punched really hard. You might not have been punched really hard, but you've been punched really hard, and you get this high pitched hearing in your ears, that kind of ringing in your ears. I had that going through as well. And that led perfectly through to Ollie sitting there looking like all magical, and then it kind of goes through into that great shot of Alina staring with her eyes black, and she's like hated John for the first time. So yeah, basically all that stuff. So apart from the tracking of the head and the eyes, all that stuff was just literally just, what do I need? What can I put in this scene to make it work, to make it have impact? So sometimes simplicity is best, and again, why the saying goes is the film you shoot, the film you write, the film you shoot, and the film you edit. Because it's how you edit and what you edit. In your mind, you might have, okay, so you've done a storyboard, I want to do this and that and the other. I can't have this, that and the other, but what I can have is this. And that's where innovation comes in. You look to films that you've watched. We've all had years of film school by watching films. You know what I mean? This is what Rodriguez and Tarantino say. When Tarantino was working in the video shop, that's what it's about. The films that you watch, you love them. Why do I love them? Why did that scene make me scared? Why did that scene make me want to cry? Why did that scene put me up? Look at Rocky. To this day, I challenge anybody to watch a Rocky training scene montage and not want to do press-ups afterwards or train, because it has that vibe. What is it about it that gives it? It's the music and everything else, and the flow of the scene, the cadence of the scene. It's all very important. There's a rhythm to like everything. Life isn't there. There's a rhythm when it comes to fighting, like fight choreography, and there's a rhythm when it comes to filmmaking. A lot of my stuff is anime inspired, and as you probably know, actually, if anyone can guess any of the anime inspirations in the film, I'm very impressed. They're hidden, but they're there. So yeah. So basically the problems that I had sound wise, first of all, reach out to professionals, see if they can help you, speak to your network, see if anyone can help you there. If not, do not give up. Just look around, see what can help you. But in the first instance, sound. Try and nail sound if you can. Don't go to somewhere that has roadworks outside, like I did. And then the VFX side of things, if you need VFX. Try and do as much. I'm a big fan of practical effects. I did a film with a lockdown with Richie and my friend Wahid. Shot it in my flat. It's about a character turning into a werewolf, basically. And Richard, again, he did some amazing SFX in that film. So it made it really simple, and just to slightly sprinkle a little bit of VFX on top of it when needed. But it's so much easier when you've got it practically. So when Elijah gets stabbed in the neck, Richie was off the side with a little siphon spraying blood up, and it just really helps. It just really helps the whole thing. It helps Craig with his performance first of all, helps Ollie with his reaction to the blood, and it helps me post-wise when it comes to laying any texture over that as well. The blood spray was, so there was the blood spray, the SFX blood spray, and then I put a really obvious effect on top of that, which is like a big spray. That was my Sin City ode, because I love that film. And it had like that sort of like really in your face comic book style spray with it, which is cool. So there were two other things that happened that I forgot to mention during the editing process that caused me an issue. One, my MacBook screen cracked, it's broke, and I was being quoted like £800 to get it fixed. So I'm like, I'm not doing that. But luckily I had a second monitor, and so I was able to finish what I needed to finish. And also Gary thankfully graded it, because this monitor's not great. The colour it's not true colour on there, so but thankfully Gary's a beast, so he graded it perfectly for me. The second thing that went wrong, and this is bigger than the sound, bigger than every single other issue on it. One of my hard drives failed. No, two of my hard drives failed. I bought, so it was Black Friday on Amazon, and I bought two new hard drives. I bought the Lacy hard drives. I'll put a picture of it somewhere here. And so when I'm editing, what I do is I have my edit session, and then that night, I will run a high quality copy of my progress off already, and I'll upload that to YouTube, and then I'll also copy the project library across to a separate hard drive, and I do that every single time, because if I didn't do that every single time, I would have been stuffed on this film, because the hard drive, I had a massive mammoth session. I'm talking like a day and a half, an actual day and a half, no sleep. I'm just straight through editing, and the hard drive just gave up on me, and I was like, oh my God. And it gave up on me during the actual session.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
But luckily, I had maybe about 5 hours before it went down. I ran a copy off, uploaded to YouTube, and I also had copied over that library, like I said, over to my second hard drive. But all the other hours after that, I lost. And I was like, damn. So again, I looked out for hard drive recovery people, charging the earth. So YouTube, again, my friend, looked on YouTube, found out what I thought the problem was, which was that the head was sticking inside. So Amazon bought some screwdrivers, undid the whole thing, and got the head to unstick, and it worked. But I knew that if it had gone wrong once, I knew that the danger was it's going to go again. So I copied off all of the progress I'd made on the one, and as I was copying it, I managed to get quite a lot off, and then it just died again on me. And I was like, and I couldn't get it working after that. So, but luckily I had two other copies of the film. So I had the film backed up on YouTube, private link. I had a copy in my Google Drive, and then had all the information on a separate hard drive, and then the library along with all the footage on a different hard drive as well. So thankfully I had a lot of backups. Backups will save your ass. Always, like I say, you know what? If you've been editing, like, if you edit, you know what it's like when you've been editing for hours and you just want to go to bed. No matter how tired you are, back it up. Just do it, because there's nothing worse. That sinking feeling of, oh my God, I've lost this footage, or I've lost that progress. it's it's not nice. It's not nice. So save yourself the high and just back it up yourself. Trust me, you know, you'll be grateful for it. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. And it may be overkill, but I'd rather have too many precautions and not enough. This is also a great tool when you're editing. I don't read music, but I can hook this up to my Mac, use GarageBand, and it's amazing. Simple tool, but you can have so many different instruments, sound effects, all kinds of things, and you can just play it straight into there. You know, you can play it straight over. And this has been a great tool for me. Some little MIDI keyboard, and like I say, there's been like certain. I don't read music, like I say. I don't play instruments. I can do a lot by ear. So there's a lot of times in there where it needed something. I don't know where to get what I needed, but I know if I heard it, I know it'd be right. So I just literally go through all the different files, play it. Oh, yeah, sound like this, sound like that. Boom, put it through GarageBand, record it, export it, and lay it over. Simple, and saves a lot of time, and saves a lot. And it's also nice. It's nice to actually find these things out for yourself as well. So like I say, there's a lot of issues when it comes to the film, but it all comes down to that thing of like literally, okay, there are issues. So what? What can I do to fix it? You know, everyone put their time and effort into it, so it's like there's no way I'm not gonna finish it. But I've got to get it across the line, and I have to make it look as good as possible and sound as good as possible, you know, to put out there. So, you know, the only thing that I would change about the film would be the sound. That's the only thing. I'm happy with the film. I'm proud of how it came out, because there was a lot of things that went wrong. Like during the editing, I got ill. I had like really, it wasn't down to the film, just other stuff, you know. Had a lot of issues, constant nosebleed, and then just end up at the doctor's, loads of tests, and just, you know, there's a lot of different things that pop up unrelated to film. And it's like, again, it's like, you can't be hung up on them. It's just like, okay, I may not be able to work on it for now. You just take a bit of time away, and you come back, and as long as you know that you have to give it life. I'm a big believer that when you're given a script idea, or when you write a script, and like the whole script process is, I really enjoy writing. And for me, it's like every time I come back to the page, I'm always being told what's going to happen next. You're like a conduit for creativity, right? So it's like when you're given characters to give life to, that you almost owe it to them to follow through and get it out there, because you've been chosen to do it. As crazy as that sounds, if it wasn't a writer, they'll understand this sort of stuff. You know, when it comes to writing, it is really sort of like it's a real special sort of thing. You know, when you're locked away. This is my desk away, just writing. If my son will be asleep, and I'm there just writing at like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. And it's a really quiet time, and it's just a really nice sort of like feeling. And then, you know, he must all wake up in the morning. How was writing last night there? Oh, great, son. You know, it's something nice about it. I really enjoy. But it is that sort of like, it is that thing where it's like, you know, I feel like you're given this opportunity to give these characters life. So give them it, you know, and that comes down to just, you know, getting it across the line, but also thinking about people around you. So, so for me, the whole point of all these short films is to get to a point where I can get my feature. I've got a bunch of feature films ready to go. I want to get funding. I want to get the same team back, and a few others along the way that I've picked up, you know, other friends that I've met along the way, and get the same people back to make a feature. If we can make short films on a low budget, then you can make feature films. I've never made a feature film, so there'll be people out there be like, yeah, you've never made a feature film, so you can't say that. This is true. However, I know a lot of people that have made feature films that I've worked with, on their feature films with them, and they've told me that the process is the same, it's just bigger. So it's like, it's the same shit. It's the same stuff you gotta go through, you know? So to learn them and to go through and experience them just means that you're more forewarned and forearmed going forward. So yeah, this is it. again, thank you for watching. I'm aware it's probably been a long, rambling video, so I appreciate you. But also, if you've had your own experiences, if you had your own little things that you've found, you come across that have helped you, put them onto YouTube, because I've found so many little tips and hints throughout this whole thing by literally typing in, you know, I don't know, maybe like if I was stuck on masking, for instance, on Final Cut Pro, how to mask Final Cut Pro, boom, a million tutorials on there. You know, it's been a lifesaver. So you never know who you're helping, and we're all in the same boat when it comes to indie filmmaking, you know. So thank you for watching. Again, massive thank you to the cast and crew of A Fistful of Shekels. Check it out when you get time, and you will see a feature film from me very soon, featuring a lot of familiar faces, because you know what? Again, like I say, when you find your team, stick with the team, you know what I mean? Keep that no arsehole policy going, and just do things bigger and better. I know that a lot of people say that you shouldn't. Again, also, you know, when it comes to this whole video, I know a lot of the things aren't going to be textbook. There may be better ways to do things. Do whatever works for you, but also sometimes you might need to look outside the box. And even when it comes down to directing and acting, a lot of people say you shouldn't do it. For me, it's the only way to go for me when it comes to my stuff for now, because it's like, it's when you're doing a lot of things, it makes it easier. You know, it's less parts to worry about when you're juggling for yourself. As long as you're capable of doing it, then it's like you just do it, because you know what, it's either that or you wait. And you wait for the right time or right for this person to become available. If you can do it, then why wait? Get it done, you know, get it done. And as long as the performance isn't suffering, it's all good. And I think my performance didn't suffer, so yeah, like I say, we got the job done. Anyway, I'm rambling on enough. It's time for me to go and sleep, because it's very late at night. That's the morning. Thank you again for watching, and look out for more stuff from us soon.